We too will not bow our heads in the face of these difficulties. We too are committed to striving diligently to create a future filled with honor and pride for our cherished nation. And as long as life courses through our veins and breath fills our lungs, we shall dedicate our very lives, making the ultimate sacrifice for our homeland.
Iran's president has delivered a defiant message as tensions with Washington surge. Speaking in Tehran, Masoud Pezeshkian vowed that Iran will not bow to world powers, despite mounting pressure and a growing U.S. military presence in the region. Even though the outside world and global powers are unfairly pressing us to submit, we will not bow our heads, Pezeshkian said during a meeting with Paralympic athletes on Saturday.
We too will not bow our heads in the face of these difficulties. We too are committed to striving diligently to create a future filled with honor and pride for our cherished nation. And as long as life courses through our veins and breath fills our lungs, we shall dedicate our very lives, making the ultimate sacrifice for our homeland. It is our profound honor to strive with every fiber of our being, and with the divine grace and strength bestowed upon us by God, we shall never yield, nor will we ever bow our heads in the face of any adversity.
His remarks come as U.S. President Donald Trump warned that limited strikes against Iran remain possible. The warning was issued even as diplomatic efforts continue, with Iran's top diplomats signaling that Tehran expects to present a proposed nuclear deal within days following talks with the United States. The standoff between the longtime adversaries has intensified in recent weeks. The Trump administration is pressing Iran for concessions over its nuclear program, while deploying what officials describe as one of the largest U.S. military buildups in the Middle East in decades, including additional warships and aircraft. Iran maintains that its nuclear program is strictly peaceful. However, Washington and several allies suspect Tehran ultimately seeks the capability to develop nuclear weapons. With diplomacy and military signaling unfolding simultaneously, the region remains on edge, caught between negotiation and escalation.
What if the next strike isn't a lightning raid, but the spark that engulfs an entire region? When President Donald Trump compared potential action against Iran to the swift U.S. operation in Caracas, it sounded decisive, fast, forceful, final. But experts warn Iran is not Venezuela, and this would not be a 2-hour raid. It could be the beginning of a prolonged, multi-front war. Because unlike the rapid operation that led to the capture of Nicolás Maduro, Iran brings something far more dangerous to the battlefield: missiles, proxies, ideology, and escalation. Experts put it quite bluntly as they said, there is no low-cost, easy, clean military option available in the case of Iran. And the cost? It could be measured in American lives. Iran's skies are not unprotected. Tehran commands one of the largest and most diverse missile arsenals in the Middle East: ballistic missiles, drones, anti-ship weapons. Its medium-range missiles can travel over 1,200 miles, placing U.S. bases across the Gulf, Israel, and even Western Turkey within reach. War analysts claim Tehran's strategy is clear, and that is escalate quickly, spread the pain, spread the cost. And that pain could land on U.S. allies. Saudi Arabia and the UAE have already signaled hesitation about allowing their airspace to be used, but geography may not protect them. If war erupts, retaliation may not stop at American forces. Israel could again come under heavy missile fire, and its interceptor stockpiles are already strained after years of conflict with Hamas and Hezbollah. This would not be a contained strike. It would ripple. Iran does not fight alone. It commands what it calls an axis of resistance. That includes Hezbollah in Lebanon and the Houthis in Yemen. Though weakened, they are far from neutralized. An Iran-aligned militia in Iraq has already pledged support, even warning of martyrdom operations if the U.S. strikes. The Houthis could again target Red Sea shipping, as they did in 2023. Experts comparing Iran as the leader said if the mothership sinks, they hang alone, so they may choose to fight together. Iran's power structure is deeply entrenched. At the top, the supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Behind him, the Islamic Revolutionary Corps, an estimated 150,000-strong force safeguarding the regime's ideology. This is not a personality-driven government. It is a layered ideological system built over nearly half a century. Tehran sits roughly 400 miles inland from the Persian Gulf. Unlike Caracas, just miles from the sea, Iran's leadership cannot be easily seized in a rapid coastal raid. Regime change here is not a surgical strike. It would mean dismantling an entire power ecosystem. And then the oil. Iran has repeatedly threatened to close the Strait of Hormuz. Nearly 20% of the world's oil and LNG flows through that narrow corridor. A shutdown would send global energy prices soaring overnight. The message is unmistakable. War would not stay regional. It would hit fuel pumps, shipping lanes, and global supply chains, from Washington to Beijing. A strike on Iran may sound decisive, but experts warn it is anything but simple. Missiles, proxies, entrenched power, global oil choke points. This would not resemble Venezuela. It could reshape the Middle East and beyond. The question now isn't just whether the U.S. can strike, it's whether it's prepared for everything that follows. The recent tensions between Iran and the United States have triggered a sudden military shift in the region. Reports say hundreds of American troops quietly evacuated, and the region is bracing for what could come next. According to a report by the New York Times, U.S. forces have been pulled out of Al Udeid Air Base, America's largest military installation in the Middle East. The report, citing anonymous Pentagon sources, also says personnel were withdrawn from Bahrain, home to the U.S. Navy's Fifth Fleet. Al Udeid hosts roughly 10,000 troops and serves as a central hub for U.S. air operations across the region, while American forces remain stationed in Iraq, Syria, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and the United Arab Emirates. The repositioning is being viewed as a precaution. Tensions have surged over the possibility of U.S. strikes on Iran. Tehran has warned that if attacked, all American bases and assets in the region would become legitimate targets. In a letter to the UN Secretary General, Iran's mission said the United States would bear full responsibility for what it called unpredictable and uncontrolled consequences. The U.S. Central Command, which oversees operations across the Middle East, has not immediately commented on the reported withdrawals, but the timing is raising alarms. In a region already on edge, even defensive repositioning can send powerful signals. For now, Washington appears to be reducing exposure, even as the specter of escalation looms. The question now, precaution or prelude?